It was supposed to be a routine day in court, but everything changed in an instant. A stray dog, muddy and shaking, walked in and interrupted the proceedings, barking 3 times. No one knew it yet, but those 3 barks would unravel a secret that had been buried for years. The courtroom was dimly lit, the walls echoing with the sound of shuffling papers and murmurs of the crowd. It was a cold Tuesday morning, and I could feel the tension in the air, heavy like a storm waiting to break. I was sitting in the back, just another face in the sea of spectators, watching as the defendant, an alleged corporate mastermind, sat confidently in the dock. I wasn't supposed to be here. I had no stake in this case, no connection to the defendant or the lawyers. But as a law student with a keen interest in human behavior, I couldn't resist. That morning I would witness a twist of fate that would change everything. It started with the dog. At first I thought it was a hallucination, a stray animal wandering into a place where it didn't belong. But the moment the dog barked, something shifted in the room. People started shifting in their seats, nervous glances exchanged. Judge Roberts was furious, his booming voice drowning out the dog's barking. But then, something unexpected happened. The defendant's lawyer, a woman with a reputation for being composed, suddenly froze. Her eyes locked on the dog, her face draining of color. The dog barked again, and then again. By the 3rd bark, something inside the courtroom broke. The judge slammed his gavel, trying to regain control, but the atmosphere had changed. I could see the defense attorney's hands trembling as she shuffled papers. Her usual confidence replaced with something darker. Her gaze was fixed on the dog, and I realized that she wasn't just frightened of the interruption, she was terrified. As the barks echoed in the room, a ripple of murmurs spread across the crowd. Someone in the back whispered, That's impossible." I looked at the dog, its eyes locked onto the lawyer as if it knew her. Suddenly the room fell eerily silent, and I began to feel a strange sense of unease wash over me. I wasn't just witnessing a trial anymore. I was witnessing something much bigger, something that I wasn't ready for. Then it happened. The lawyer, her face pale, her lips trembling, stood up abruptly, knocking her chair to the ground with a loud crash. She rushed to the front of the courtroom, her eyes wild. "I can't do this," she gasped, voice shaking. I never meant for it to go this far." Everyone stared in confusion, but I saw it. Her eyes flickered to the dog, then to the judge. And that's when I realized it. The dog wasn't just a random stray. It was a living reminder of a buried secret, one that this lawyer, and maybe the entire court, had been trying to suppress for years. The courtroom was now in complete chaos. People stood up, shouting, trying to understand what had just unfolded. The defense attorney, shaking, was escorted out by security, still mumbling incoherently about a past that no one knew. But as the noise in the courtroom grew, I couldn't shake the feeling that the real shock had yet to come. Why had the dog barked 3 times? Why did it seem to hold the key to something so much darker? I felt a cold chill crawl up my spine as I turned to look at the dog one last time. And that's when it hit me. The judge, his face pale, looked at the empty chair where the defense attorney had been. "This case is adjourned," he said, his voice weak. As the courtroom emptied, I couldn't help but wonder, what if the truth had been here all along, hiding in plain sight?